stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good evening, my fellow trudgers, trudgies and trudgers. I hope you are having a good weekend. It's Saturday, March 30th. March 30th, man. This month went by fast. Did it not? Was it just me? Was it just me? Oh, it must be because I'm the only one here right now. So let me do some sharing. I know people were kind of waiting on it because I haven't been live yet. Maybe not waiting on it, but keeping an eye out. I think that's enough sharing. That's enough sharing. $101. I like today's reading because we get to use something else. We get to use a different book. I always like different books because I haven't read it yet. And well, I probably have read this because I do daily reflections a lot, but I don't remember it. So that's good. 101. The group conscious. Okay. Making sure I'm looking at the right thing. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. Good to see you. I saw that you liked the post. So, so that people aren't wondering, it's a Spider-Man shirt. And it says Miles Morales. He's the new Spider-Man. There's Peter Parker, and then there's Miles Morales. If you don't know who he is, don't worry about it. It's just another superhero. Batman's probably one of my favorite superheroes, but Spider-Man. If I had to pick what superhero I wanted to be, it would be Spider-Man. I don't know why. But even when I dream at night with my nightmares, a lot of times I think I'm Spider-Man. I fly a lot in my dreams. I fly a lot. I don't take the bus or ride cars or anything in my dreams anymore. I'm always flying. I'm usually flying away from jail. These are my dreams. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'm in a pretty decent mood today. I was in a good mood anyway, but then some justice happened, and that was even better. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. See, sometimes, let me put it this way. Growing up in the system, just growing up, I've never liked bullies. And when you're in the system, when you're in group homes, there's a lot of them. And sometimes it takes a little while, but we've had somebody bullying in our group and nobody's really noticing. And so it took me a year, but I finally got rid of this person. I just kept slowly taking things away. There was way too much ego, way too much power, way too much control for one person, and they were abusing it. And they were doing it in the name of the next right thing. And no, nobody takes credit for the group. God takes credit for the group, period. Right? Now, I'm watching our group conscious kind of go through things, right? And what I brought up is we need to learn the traditions. Okay? Because what we were talking about is clearly outlined in the traditions, tradition 6. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. Okay? So it's clearly outlined in tradition 6 that we don't give money to any outside enterprise. That includes AA clubs. That includes AA clubs. Okay. An AA club is separate from the AA meetings. And when those start to combine, know your traditions and you won't. I'm going to tell you, if you know your traditions, you won't hit those pitfalls. Let's get to this. So I'm going to catch you up on this story. Bill was just offered a job at a hospital saying, hey, you do so well at this, you should get paid for it. All right, now you're caught up. I was bowled over. There were a few twinges of conscience until I saw how really ethical Charlie's proposal was. There was nothing wrong whatever with becoming a lay therapist. Right? I thought of Lois coming home exhausted from the department store each day only to cook supper for a household of drunks who were not paying board. I thought of a large sum of money I still owed my Wall Street creditors. I thought of some of the alcoholic friends who were making so much money as they ever did. Why shouldn't I do as well as they? Sometimes you're chosen to take posts. Okay. I'm going to tell you, I'm broke. I don't have any money. Okay. There's more money in the group conscious meeting bank than there is in mine, which is a good thing. It's still a good thing, right? Although I asked Charlie for a little time to consider it, my own mind was made up. Going back to Brooklyn on the subway, I had a flash seeming divine guidance. It was only a single sentence, but it was the most convincing. In fact, it came right out of the Bible. A voice kept saying to me, the laborer is worthy of his hire. I don't hear anything about money. I don't hear anything about money in that sentence. I think we were still on the barter system back then when that line was written. All right. But see how a single line can maybe convince us that we are doing the next right thing. See, it isn't until we talk to other people who have a sane mind that kind of know who we are that we're going to really get the answer that we need. Not want, but need. At home, I found Lois cooking as usual while three drunks looked hungry on from the kitchen floor. I drew her aside and told her the glorious news. She looked interested, but not as excited as I thought she should be. Should be. There's an expectation there now. See how high I can jump? That's what he said to her. Okay? And Lois wasn't really buying it. It was meeting night. Although few of the alcoholics were boarded, seemed to get sober, some others had. With their wives, they crowded into our downstairs parlor. At once, I burst into the story of my opportunity. I shall never forget their impassive faces and the steady gazes they focused on me. With waning enthusiasm, my story trailed off to the end. There was a long silence. Almost timidly, one of my friends began to speak. We know how hard you are up, Bill. We know how hard you are up, Bill. He said, it bothers us a lot. We've often wondered what we might do about it. But I think I speak for everyone here when I say that what you now propose bothers us an awful lot more. The speaker's voice grew more confident. Don't you realize, he went on, that you can never become a professional? As generous as Charlie has been to us, don't you see that we can't tie this thing up with his hospital or any other? You tell us that Charlie's proposal is ethical. Sure, it's ethical. But what we've got won't run on ethics only. It has to be better. Sure, Charlie's idea was good, but it wasn't good enough. This is the matter of life and death, Bill, and nothing but the very best will do. I'm going to tell you something. Okay, the very best hardly ever has anything to do with money. In fact, I can't really think of something where it was actually the best. I just got out of a group conscious where people were trying to divide the group. Literally, they were trying to divide it, one person. Well, if we're going to divide and we're going to do this, and that isn't what was going on. That isn't what was happening. His power was being taken, and therefore he could not live up to the promises and expectations that he put on other people. That is not our problem. It's not our problem. Okay. Money almost always fucks everything up. Everybody feels like they're due. Okay. I wish it didn't. I wouldn't mind making a little bit more money. I'm tired of my wife working her fucking ass off all the time. I'm tired of it. She does. So I can do this for you. See, I understand this because this is Shannon and I. We do this quite often at home. I found those. My friends looked at me challengingly as their spokesman continued. Bill, haven't you often said right here in this meeting that sometimes the good of the enemy is the best? Well, this is a plain case of it. You can't do this thing to us. Thus spoke the group conscious. The group was right and I was wrong. The voice on the subway was not the voice of God. Here was the true voice welling up out of my friends. I listened, thank God, and I obeyed. Okay? Sometimes we need to, no, not sometimes. We always, as alcoholics, need to take this thing a step further. Okay? I don't make any kind of move without talking to another person first. I don't. Even if I think it's small. Okay? Because sometimes my best thoughts are not God's will. And I will think that they are. Why? Because I'm a person that looks for signs. And I will look for that. Well, that thought came into my head. Well, yeah, sure it did, because it justified what it is that you wanted. So sure, that thought came into your head. Now I need to bounce this off of somebody, and I need to be accountable first, right? And that is what's so great about the group conscience. Okay. Now, I've been to many a group conscious in my life. Many. I've seen fights break out. I've seen cups thrown. I've also seen a lot of camaraderie, fellowship. I've seen a lot of growth. Okay. So it isn't just an individual that grows. We grow as a group also. Okay. There's a set of people that listen to me. Okay. Maybe not every day, but they listen to me consistently. We are a group of people on the same path. We may not see each other. We may have our individual areas, but our thought process and what we're doing is in alignment. And it doesn't, just like when I moved to California because I thought it wasn't going to hurt my people back in Colorado, good happens the same way. Distance isn't the problem. Okay. And distance isn't a difficulty, especially now that we have things like Zoom and things like that. Okay. Now I'm starting to see this. Okay. In-person and Zoom meetings are starting to kind of do this. Okay. No one's better than anybody else. We're all just a bunch of alcoholics trying to make it through the fucking day, man. And it says, I'm just gonna clear this argument up now, because the answer is in the big book. It is. It's in the foreword to the 4th edition. While our literature has preserved the integrity of the AA message, sweeping changes in society, and this was written in 2001, as a society as a whole, are reflected in new customs and practices within the fellowship, taking advantage of technological advances, for example. You think Zoom is new? I've been hitting AA meetings online since AOL came out. 95. They're not new. And for example, AA members with computers can participate in meetings online, sharing with fellow alcoholics across the country or around the world. In any meeting anywhere, AA shared experience, strength, and hope with each other in order to stay sober and help other alcoholics modem to modem or face to face. AA speak the language of the heart in all its power and simplicity. There it is. Okay. Do we predict the future? Kinda. Because AA is about understanding the needs of our society and fulfilling them. And guess what? Society changes. And therefore, we must be able to change too. Isn't that what being open-minded is about? Okay. Now, I've run the gamut here. I know what it's like to be an old timer and see these changes in AA. And no, it's not always comfortable, man. It isn't. Kind of expected a lot of stuff going on. Okay. All right. Right. It's called stimming. I do it a lot. Especially if I'm in a really good mood, I will stim a lot, because then I get too excited and I need to calm myself down. So he didn't like my stimming. What, Sawyer? What? Meow? He doesn't ever ask for love. He yells at me. Meow. See? But he talks back, which is funny. That's Sawyer. Meow. Yeah. Meow. Oh, no, he's sitting there waiting to be. Okay. I can pet and read. I think these words apply to every AA's 3 legacies: recovery, unity, and service. I want them etched in my mind and life as I trudge the road of happy destiny. These words, often spoken by co-founder Bill W., were appropriately said to him as the result of the group's conscience. It brought home to Bill W. the essence of our second tradition. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. So here again, we can see an example of the 10th step. You know what the traditions are? It's one big 10th step. This is where we screwed up. Okay? Who better than Bill W. to be a layman therapist, man? Who better? But still, no. No, that's not what God called him to do. That is not what his higher power called him to do. Just as Bill was originally urged to remember, I think that in our group discussions, we should never settle for the good, but always strive to attain the best. What is that? It's perfection. Why do we want the best? Because if we do what's best, not good. Oh, I'm a good person. Well, why don't you be the best person that you can be? All right. Be the best that you can each day. Some days that's going to suck. It's going to be steps 1, 2, and 3. You know, that's some days that's all I'll be. Hey, Amber, good to see you. Okay, so we don't settle for good. We're going to strive to attain the best. Why? Attraction, because that attracts newcomers. Okay, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to be non-evasive. Okay, I'm going to give you a very, very good example of why you should have these options. Why my stuff is hybrid. Okay, we had a person that was having a hard time. They came to the in-person meeting, but they did not want to come inside yet. So they still joined the meeting through Zoom, and it worked for them. Okay, it does not matter. That's fine with me. If that's how the rest of the people come in, great, because that's what's best. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. It's highly inconvenient for me. I have a lot of shit I have to do to make that happen, but it's for the best. It isn't about what Dion wants. It's about what's best for the group. Because if I do what's best for the group, then Dion is automatically a good person, and then I don't have to fuck around with all that. Yeah. So I don't want what's good. I want what's best. I'm glad that they put that. That was a great way, right? And I just did what was best. Huh, Amber? I remove bullies. You think I don't? I'm telling you, I see everything. I notice everything, especially in those groups. I'm there every day, and I know who's who. I know who's who. Okay? And that's because I'm there every day. Almost every day, right? And when I'm there, I participate. I don't eat up all the service work, but gosh, somebody's got to talk about the grapevine every now and again, right? So the common strivings are yet another example of a loving God as we understand him. Yeah. And that's what's cool is we can go to this group, we can go to a group conscious, and we have like 10 different higher powers going on, but it's all for the same thing, the intentions. What are we going to do to make the world a better place? Hey, Daryl, good to see you, brother. I don't know what action we do next, so if you let me know if you want to meet next, what you want to do. I should probably text you instead of using this as a form of communication instead. So I'll text you instead. And that's what I'm talking about here, these common strivings, and that we grow as a group. We grow individually, but when we grow as a group, okay, what starts to happen? Number one, the first thing that starts to happen, fellowship starts to happen, right? So that's the first thing. Loneliness starts to disappear. Then what starts to happen, especially with alcoholics, inside jokes. When people get together after the meeting and kind of jab at each other, maybe give each other a hard time, or we're given accolades or whatever, that's really the meeting. Meetings are not an hour long. Meetings are an hour and a half. In my book, they're an hour and a half. Okay. Then what happens when we grow as a group? Well, as we go our individual ways, when everybody is doing the same thing, even though it's individualized, it happens much quicker. Because once we are connected by that, we are connected by this spiritual string. And if something's going on with you, I feel that twang, ding, and I know. I just know. I don't know if that happens for everybody else, but you can come on here and I know if you're in a bad mood. I can just feel it because I'm connected to you. I've opened myself up. Okay? That took me a long time. I had to open that door so slowly. But now I understand the degrees of trust and boundaries, and more than anything, I've learned that my emotions and my triggers are my own responsibility. And so I took those on. God helped me with those. But once I became responsible for my own triggers, I saw things differently. I didn't see a person to laugh at in the street. I don't see our president. It kills me. It kills me. I'm just going to say that because I'm not. It's the one rule that I have. We don't talk about the president or politics here. So I'm just using that as an example. And I can pray for these people. Okay. The bully that we had in our group and they're leaving. I don't think this person is bad. I don't dislike them. I don't hate them. I love them. But I'm doing what's best I will always do what's best for the group. Because when I do what's good for the group, I automatically get what I need. It always happens. Always. And then sometimes I even get what I want. Actually, I get what I want quite often. I do. It's weird. But I don't want a lot. I want to be needed and loved. I wanted my children in my life. I wanted a cool sponsor. I wanted good friends. I wanted people to come participate with me. You know, those are the wants that I want in my life. Hi, Ingrid. Man, everybody showed up late. I'm going to have to do another one. All right. Experiences such as these help me stay on the proper path of recovery. And I need that. I got to learn to stay in my lane too. That was my biggest problem. I did it with fentanyl. I tried to go out there and help with fentanyl. Not my lane. Guess what happened? I fell on my face. I did some things that were wrong. Okay. Not my lane. I learned to combine initiative with humility, responsibility with thankfulness, and thus relish the joys of living my 24-hour program. That's where he got the topic. I almost said his name, but I didn't. That's one thing I'm working on that you guys maybe you don't know, but somebody had brought up that and even though it's first names, I'm saying people's names for meetings, and that's cutting it too close for me. So if I do it, please remind me, please, because I don't want to do that to people. That's all right. I can make mistakes. It's all right. I'll correct them, but I do apologize for that, or if I offended anybody or stepped out of my lane. So we're going to go ahead and go to a day at a time. I have no idea what the topic is. I don't know. Shirt says Miles Morales. There, now you're filled in a little bit more. No, I don't actually walk like that. Okay, guys, we'll see you later. All right. I'm in a good mood. All right. When I meditate upon such a vision, Bill W. continued, I need not be dismayed because I shall never attain it, nor need I swell with the presumption that one of these days its virtues shall be all mine. Ooh. I think we're going to be going on to Rule 62 here. I know that because the last night I already looked at it. I needed to know what I was talking about. I only need dwell on the vision itself, letting it grow and evermore fill my heart. Then I get a sane and healthy idea where I stand on the highway to humility. So, what he's saying here, at least what I'm getting, is that I'm not going to be dismayed of the fact that I'm never going to be perfect. Yeah, there it is. Thank you, Daryl. There we go. Thank you. Yes, talk about the promises. Thank you. I don't catch it all. That's why it's a we program, man. So humility. Then I get a sane and healthy idea of where I stand on the highway of humility. I wouldn't mind talking a little bit about determining our own worth. This is a hard one. And we should, for me, I do what I can to try to not determine my own worth because I tend to screw it up. Right? I'm an extremist, and what I'm looking for is balance. I really don't want to be overly here or overly down. Love you. Love you. Take care. All right. I see that my journey towards God has scarcely begun. As thus I get down to my right size and stature. Ah, there we go. Too big for my britches. Sometimes I get too big for my britches. That's what we call it. That's what we call it. Used to call it. Ego. Head won't fit through the door. Right? These kinds of things. And that very much goes along with, as thus I get down to my right stature, my self-concern and importance become amusing. Do I take myself too seriously? Wow, good stuff. Good stuff. Because, I mean, weren't we just talking about that too? Bill took himself way too seriously when he decided he was going to take that job, right? And it isn't until we go to talk to somebody else so we can kind of see what we're doing and be like, and just laugh at ourselves. Not much else we can do, unless we have some amends or things to take care of. Okay. But when this does most of the processing, I know I'm taking myself too seriously. When I get these very serious thoughts in my head, what I try to do, Daryl, you're asking me. That's a great question. That's a very good question. And now it threw me for a loop because now that's what I'm thinking about. This is off the top of my head. I don't know that there is much difference between the pride and ego. Can you help me out with that? That'd be awesome. Best I can do is look up the because I know there is. Pride.
Here's the definition.
Yeah, I would love your answer.
A feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, the achievements of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired.
Okay. The team was bursting with pride after a recorded sensational victory. Let's say I got a new car. Right? I'm taking pride in it. Well, am I going to have any pride in it until somebody else sees it? Right? It's not a cool car until somebody else sees it. Ego.
According to Fourth Grass Machinery, Ego is a leading provider of cordless garden machinery with their product range comprising lawnmowers, line trimmers.
It's not the one we're looking for. The self, especially as contrasted with another self or the world. It also has to do with self-esteem. Thank you. I knew it was in there. I was never going to get to that, Daryl. And that's the right answer. I wasn't going to be able to get to that. Pride is how I feel about myself, and ego is how I want you to feel about me. Thank you for keeping it nice and simple, too. Because beyond that, I don't know, I would have been able to figure it out, right? So that goes back to determining my own worth, right? And that when I do determine my own worth, I mean, what am I worth? Now, here's the thing. When I think of that, if I'm going to have some worth, don't I need to compare it to something? And that's not fair to anybody because that person is different than me. So that isn't fair to that other person, nor is it how yeah, you got that. So what I was talking about with the car would have been more ego. Hey, look at my new car. It's not going right. Wanting to take credit. I want you to be proud of me because I did this. Right? It's kind of like in the beginning of my sobriety, I would do something with the house, and then I would go to my wife and say, "Hey, look at it," and give me a pat on the back. That was my ego, and I had to stop that. I had to let that go. Okay. No, Dion, people don't get thanked for taking out the trash just because you started doing it. Okay. But I had to learn these things. So what I have to do, not take myself so seriously. So what should I take seriously? The program. I should take the program seriously. All right, let's finish this up and we'll get out of here. Today I pray, may the grandiosity, which is a symptom of my chemical addiction, be brought back into proportion by the simple comparison of my powerlessness with the power of God. May I think of the meaning of higher power as it relates to my human frailty. May it bring my ego back down to scale and help me shed my defenses of pomp or bluster or secret ideas or self-importance. Today I will remember God is great. I am small. I'm going to tell you something. I get angry the quickest when I don't get what I want. And I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. When I have these ideals or these expectations, that's when I get angry. So I have a couple of things that I can do with that. I can either learn not to put expectations on those things, or I can be honest because it happened to me just a couple weeks ago. Why are you getting upset? I'm upset because I'm not getting what I want right now. And I know that. That's what was going on. I think they thought less of me after that, but it was the truth. I don't have anything, right? That's it. Yeah. We're going to call that an ITT. Nice. Let's just end it on this. Because that's such what it was. See, we can laugh at these things. Okay. Why? Because I was acting like a kid. That's why. Okay. And if I don't laugh at it, then I'm going to get angry about it. I don't feel like doing that either. So let's watch those internal temper tantrums. All right. I think 40 minutes is good. I love you guys. I love y'all. Peace out. And have a great Saturday evening. Bye.